Hello and welcome. My name is Scott Suskovic. I'm pastor at Christ Lutheran Church, and welcome to this podcast that we call Deeper Dive, in which we take a look at the previous Sunday's sermon and go at a deeper level for a great conversation. We're glad you're here. All right, we are at it again here with this podcast called Deeper Dive, in which we look at the sermon last Sunday and go at some levels that we just don't have time on Sunday. So Pastor Scott here along with
Pastor Ryan, and we are talking about the last of our sermon series, Is There Peace? No. Always at War.
Always At War is a
there it
sermon
is.
series.
Yeah, that's the series.
But we went from war between nations to showing mercy among groups to reconciliation of individuals. And this last one, as we get to the micro, it is peace within. Can we have peace within? And we started out with that great comedian who just says, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Was he a comedian? I thought it was a preacher.
Oh, well, he was funny.
He was definitely funny. He just, he had that look, that dress, the way he was dressed made me think that he was a preacher.
Maybe.
But,
talking about you only have two things to worry about, and eventually those two things came down to heaven and hell.
Yeah.
If you're going to heaven,
got nothing to worry about.
going to hell, two.
Two things.
Original or extra crispy. So
I love that. That's a KFC joke, which are rare.
rare.
We don't get a lot of KFC jokes.
So we talked about, or I talked about, how do you get this peace within? Because it's one thing to say, don't worry, there's nothing to worry about, be happy. And yet we as people really still suffer from worrying.
You gotta worry. I mean, look, what's in my fridge? What am I gonna have for dinner? Is there fuel in my car? Do I have insurance? There's things to worry about. That's not what you're talking about.
Right. And so how do you get this peace? Jesus says, don't worry about those things, the birds of the air, the lilies of the field. God takes care of them. God will take care of you too. So you have nothing to worry about, Jesus said.
Yeah, that's what he said. I have a difficult time with that, Jesus, because I want to worry.
Yeah, you're not alone with that. I think that there are those, and I suppose every one of us at certain times worrying about, will there be enough? Will there be enough?
That's it. And
so the way that I approached it was knowing how the story ends. Some people, and I actually had, after Sunday, I had a couple of people come up to me and say, I do that. That is, these are the ones who read the last chapter of a murder mystery first before starting with chapter 1 so they can figure out the nuances and the characters and the clues and all that stuff. I said, that's horrible.
I got it on good authority, though, that Jesus still loves them, even though they're doing it wrong.
So some people actually do that. Now, that's a horrible idea when it comes to the summer read, but when it comes to our Christian faith, we do well to know how the story ends. And of course, we know from the book of Revelation, God wins.
That's absolutely right. No crying, no weeping, all these things will pass away.
And if this God is for us, if our names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, if nothing can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus, then indeed that comedian is right, you ain't got nothing to worry about.
Ain't got nothing to worry about.
All right, so ask me where I want to go today.
So where are we diving deeper? We've just covered what we did on Sunday. Let's jump off. Let's get in the deep end. Where we're going?
Well, I was reflecting on the 35 years that I've been in ministry and since seminary. And it seems to me I've seen this pendulum move. Certainly when I started out, and even way before that, there was this, I'll call it an obsession on heaven and hell. Where the evangelist from that Kennedy whatever thing says, do you know if you die tonight, do you know we're going to spend all of eternity?
Classic. Yeah, I love that one.
Right. And, you have the stereotypical Southern Baptist preacher who's literally trying to scare the hell out of you.
Or into you, right? So that you do whatever he says to do, right? Get washed in these waters or say these magic words.
So the emphasis was so much on where you're going to spend eternal salvation, which, eternity is a whole lot longer than the 72.5 years I get here on earth, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit longer.
A little longer. Now, the pendulum I've seen over these years has shifted, and I bet you have seen this as well. There are certainly those pastors who say, I really don't focus on heaven and hell. I don't think Jesus came here to yank us out of this world, to put our either our heads in the clouds or scare us into heaven or scare us about hell. It's all about living the kingdom right now. It's about forgiving and serving and loving right now. Don't worry about this yet. You've heard that, haven't you?
It makes me groan. It's not that it's wrong. It's not wrong. It's not as if the thought is evil or bad.
No.
We should care about the kingdom building in this life here and now. That's absolutely true. But to deny the judgment, to deny heaven and hell, is to deny the reality of God. If we're going to spend the overwhelming majority of existence in heaven, then
long time.
Maybe pay attention.
I think I understand the dilemma. That is, you've got some of those, remember those slave spiritual songs about swing low, sweet chariot.
Coming for to carry me home.
Or I've got a crown up in the kingdom, that good news. So what they're doing is that they're enduring this life with the idea that there's going to come a day and I just have to endure this life. And that's not a way to live.
It's not, but we have to give credit where credit's due. If the life that you presently have is to be lived and you're a slave, then the only way you can live it is through enduring.
Right.
And the way that you get through that is by focusing on the end.
Right.
Now, I hear what you're saying. You're trying to say, don't get lost.
Don't get lost.
Right? And for you and I and the majority and pretty much everybody listening to us now, we don't want to get lost. They're not enduring life. None of us are enduring.
So on the one side, you've got people just enduring life to get to the prize.
Right.
And then the pendulum swung to the other side, and it's almost as if they turned the church into a social welfare system.
Right.
That is, we are here to have a food shelf. We're here to have a homeless shelter. We're here to have a counseling center.
Yeah.
We're here to, again, not bad.
Not right. It's a fine thing. In fact, we should care for our neighbor. When did you feed me? When did you clothe me?
Right.
When did you see me naked? Right? When did you visit me in prison? Right?
But there are other agencies who are doing that better than we are, and it is their charter.
Right.
Um,
Right. That stuff is side effect. The reason you're doing that is to show the love of God. God so loved the world, he gave his son. Great. Now what do I do about that? There is a response to grace.
So yeah, here's where I think that we've been given a false conclusion. We either have to focus on heaven and hell, or we have to focus on this earth.
Oh, cool. Yes, right.
It's
right.
a false choice.
Yeah, a false dichotomy. We don't need to be lost on either extreme.
Here's where the pendulum, I think we need to come down right here towards the middle. I think about Luther's famous apocryphal phrase about if he knew that...
Was that apocryphal? Oh, say it for everybody at
All right.
home.
So if he knew the end of the world was coming, what would you do?
Plant a tree today.
Plant a tree today.
Is that apocryphal? He didn't say that. Is that Confucius or somebody?
But there's so much that Luther said that we attribute so much. Who knows? But it's good because, once again, here's Lutheran theology being the best of all.
No argument.
It grounds us in this world at the same time, reminds us of the one to come.
Even if Luther didn't say it, let's just pretend, because it is exactly that. We should know that at any moment, Jesus will come back. Okay, not yet.
Maybe today, maybe tomorrow.
Maybe by the time this podcast reaches our listeners. And in the meantime, we live a life for him
Right.
until we meet him.
Here's where there's a quote from C.S. Lewis that I absolutely love. And I'm going to get the exact wording wrong, but he says something like, ever since people of faith stopped focusing on the world to come, they become ineffective in the world right now.
Ooh, unpack that one. Every time some people of faith focus on the world to come, they become ineffective in the world today.
When they don't focus
When they don't focus on the
world to come, that's exactly when he said they become ineffective today. And that happened, of course, C.S. Lewis in the 40s, right around there. This is a response to that German liberal theology that really demythologized the whole heaven. And they were really moving away from heaven and hell. And then, of course, Lewis looked at the whole history of Christendom and said, no, it's both. When you focus on what is to come, you actually are more engaged on this world right now.
Okay, so if I know that there's a heaven to come or a judgment or what have us, then that informs how I live today.
Right.
And that makes me more effective.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I understand that.
You know, Paul had that phrase, I loved it. If for this life only we have hoped in Jesus Christ, we are of all people most to be pitied. So realizing that it is both ends. Going back to the pendulum, it's a false choice of either heaven and hell or this world. You need to be able to know the sure and certain hope of where you're going in order to give meaning and purpose to your service today.
And then, of course, the other pendulum is don't be so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good. Right?
Yes.
Isn't that phrase?
Or, what on earth are you doing for heaven's sake?
Oh, man, we could be here all day. I love that. Okay, so that means in our life, it's important to understand whose we are with our Heavenly Father, and then what's going on in our life now, which gives us peace in those moments.
Yeah.
That this life will have its troubles.
Jesus said as much.
And because it will have its troubles doesn't mean that we can't deny that,
Right.
but it also means that we don't have to let it rule us. That's that peace.
That's it. So, coming to the conclusion then of the sermon on Sunday, it was really talking about how does the story end? And I read from Revelation that God will wipe away every tear from our eye, that suffering and pain will be no more. God will dwell with his people. And here's the best part, death, that ultimate final enemy, will finally be destroyed. We can count on that. And when you count on that, well, now you can live your life that's pleasing to God.
And have no worries except that tomorrow may not come and you'll see Jesus. That's it.
And that's not a bad thing.
That's
huh?
a fine one.
That's a fine thing. So we wrapped up this sermon series.
Yeah.
It was much more profound than we thought it was going to be, don't you think?
Yeah, I love when that happens, right? You touch a nerve, which was kind of what we were looking for, right? To hit the things that were happening in our world today.
Yeah.
And yeah, we hit it.
Well, we're starting a new sermon series on Sunday. It's I don't know how we let them do this, Ryan.
They're taking over, Scott.
Those musicians,
Oh, man. Give them an inch.
they're a quirky bunch of people, you know.
Oh, God has blessed them in different ways.
So we're going to do a 3-part sermon series on the gift, the power, the impact of music.
Yeah, and I'm preaching this coming Sunday. And can I tell you, I've already written the sermon.
Already done?
Oh, you know me, but I loved writing this sermon. The problem when you have a good topic is you have to pick. What am I going to talk
Right.
about? Because there's so much. So we're gonna start this coming Sunday with this new sermon series. So much to sing about.
Cool. Hope you can join us then. And again next week for the next edition of Deeper Dive.
See you next week.